All right. Looks like we live. Here we go. Now I'll come back to Twitter.
Check.
Okay. Did you want me to send that to you personally or just tweet it out?
No, just tweet it out. Just tweet it out and just have my name in the tweet. It'll get to me.
Okay.
Just saying, whatever. Live with Puertorockk or special guest with Puertorockk, whatever.
Okay, there we go. All right. There we go. Wow, that wasn't too hard. All right. So we already got thank you, Craig Harris. He said he just tweeted it out too.
Nice. No, you put the hangout.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, you put
I gotta go back. I gotta go back and take that back.
Yeah, delete that. You're supposed to take the YouTube, your internet address.
Shoot. Oh man, I'm new to this. I'm new to this crap. Let me see where to find it at.
You gotta go back to your tweet and delete it. Oh man, you're gonna have mad people now jumping.
Oh man. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute this conversation so that way nobody sees it. Yeah, go back to your tweet and delete it. Yeah, you're supposed to copy and paste the web address.
Oh, see, I copied and pasted the
No, not the Oh man, hopefully you don't get trolls jumping up in here.
Oh man, and that's where I'm lost trying to find where the tweet is at. See, I'm new to Twitter, so I don't
all right. So click on home.
Yep.
Okay, click on your name or to the left where it says tweets.
Okay.
Now that's your home page, right? Now you should see it. Now you should see that tweet you just sent out.
Okay.
And now go to that drop down arrow box.
Oh, yep.
And delete tweet.
Delete. Okay, so let me try this again.
Yeah. So you want to go to? Are you seeing your YouTube page? Are you seeing do you have a YouTube page where the comment box is at?
Yeah.
Okay, so just copy the web address.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you want to tweet out. The web address.
Okay, so let's try this tweet thing again. Hopefully I won't. It's still saying Hangouts.
No. It should be so you have your Internet Explorer. No, not the chat room that we're in. I'm talking about the actual your YouTube page.
Okay.
Your YouTube page. Where you would see the chat box. Like if you were looking at my video, like if you were to look at another person's webpage, you should be going to your webpage and you could see your stuff live.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let's try this again. Page is refreshed. Copy. Let's try this again.
Testing. Yeah.
Paste. There we go. And how about that?
Hopefully that's pretty funny. Yeah, you go. That's it.
All right. There we go. All right. Okay, everybody. Sorry about the technical issues there. I'm still a little bit dumbed down on Twitter. So with that being said, we are officially ready to get underway. Yo, what is good, YouTube? What is good, gamers? It is your boy Lincoln Clay coming back at you. Let's all be one cohesive unit and hit that like button. Help spread the content to a wider audience. And make sure you hit the bell icon so you can stay notified when I upload new content. I would appreciate that as well. If you are a new subscriber to the channel, welcome to the channel. I hope you are enjoying the content. And welcome to a Saturday edition of The Lincoln Show. And it gives me great pleasure to have a guest who is definitely, without a doubt, one of my favorite YouTubers. I would label this man as the king of common sense. Some people can say some really weird stuff, and this man will make sense of it and intelligently make people see how probably not so smart that they are. With that being said, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce my next guest on The Lincoln Show, one of my favorite YouTubers, Puertorockk77. Welcome to the show. Would you be so kind as to give the audience a intro?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know who this is. Your only friend on these YouTube streets, Puertorockk77. I want to thank Lincoln for the invite here. It's fantastic. I appreciate the invite, and I'm excited. We're gonna get to talk games and stuff like that, and I just can't wait. But anyway, everybody knows. I see some of my great family and friends that rock out on my channel. They're appearing here, and hopefully we'll get a bigger crowd going. And let's talk some games, man. Let's talk whatever you want.
Yeah, without a doubt. And before we get started, I just wanted to let the chat know that I have posted a link to Puertorock's YouTube page. So make sure, if you're not a subscriber, make sure you go there, subscribe to it. He has a lot of great content. You heard it from me. I wouldn't lie to you. So, and getting right into it. And Root of Legends, Puertorockk77 is a legend.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, look at the love coming already.
Yeah, man. Don't forget to hit the like button, all right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. We're already up to 9 likes. So, the first question is, a lot has been made out of Sony's E3. Something that because Microsoft isn't competitive, Sony is getting complacent. Some think this is Sony bringing it into this generation. What would be your take on that?
So I talked about this on my channel. So we have to see the result of what happened. Sean Layden, he was in a broadcast, PlayStation broadcast, and he particularly talked about what they're gonna do at E3, where they have a segment, or where they're gonna in-depth coverage of 4 particular games. The wording of how he said it makes a lot of people assume that's all Sony's gonna do, even though they did ask him if that's all. He said, no, we're gonna have third-party games. We're also going to have new announcements and indies. And then that was pretty much the end of the conversation. So a lot of people looked at that conversation in combination of the lack of competition Microsoft is provided pretty much. And everybody's making the assumption that Sony is pretty much complacent now. And it is a valid concern, because I said this on my channel lots of times. These competitors, they're only going to compete they're only going to rise to the challenge, to the level of challenge that they're facing. And if Sony feels that Microsoft doesn't have anything in the bag, then they're only going to do as much as what they need to. Because also from a business standpoint, they don't have to do more. They don't have to invest more money into, doing a big show if they don't need to, if the competition is not willing to step up, which is kind of sad, but that's what we talk about when we talk about competition. This is why we talk about exclusives and all that. We want Microsoft to be competitive because that's what makes Sony drive to be better. Because at the end of the day, they should be fighting for our dollars. If Sony feels Microsoft is not really making the moves, nor do they have the desire to make the moves to go after the consumer's dollar, then Sony's only going to do the bare minimum of what they need to sell us their products, which is not fair, which is not something we want. We want Sony to have the biggest and best shows at E3. But Microsoft has to push them to that by them trying to have the biggest and best show at E3. You know what I mean? So there is a little concern. I'm hoping it doesn't get to that. I'm hoping Sony does have a blockbuster show. I'm hoping Microsoft has a blockbuster show. But this could be a small sign of things to come. If Microsoft continues to stay on this path where they're more concerned about services, and not games, they're just more concerned about how they're going to deliver the current library, boosting Game Pass, and they're not really concerned about delivering big blockbuster titles that's only available on Xbox. It could lead to Sony being complacent because it'll be an easy W for them. But in the end, it'll be an L for all of us. Because we're not getting the big compelling games that we deserve to get. And so it is a valid concern, So I'm not going to say we're there yet, but we do need to keep a close eye on this E3 because this could be a telltale sign of E3s to come.
Without a doubt, I definitely agree with that. This E3 is probably going to be the biggest E3 yet in terms of what's on the line. I definitely think this is going to be a huge E3, and with a lot of people kind of taking it for granted that Sony's coming in with a conservative approach of this E3. Do you think they might be saving some of their bullets for Gamescom or Paris Game Week?
That's another factor that's considered because Sony is willing to unveil big titles in other venues besides outside of E3. They did it with in 2016 on PSX when they showed The Last of Us. That was the first reveal trailer. And then they did it last year at Paris Games Week, showing the reveal trailer for Ghost of Tsushima. So Sony, so you really, what's insane is, let's say if they don't show no new big blockbuster IPs at E3, there'll be a lot of narrative where people will say Sony is done, they're done for the rest of the gen, they're just gonna coast, and then all of a sudden at Paris Games Week or even PSX 2018, they introduce a big blockbuster title. So yeah, we don't know. They could easily, balance this out. They could easily plan how they want to introduce big new titles and stuff. So yeah, it's a possibility that they can do that. So yeah, that's an interesting point, interesting topic. Sony's willing to spread load stuff. I think the one thing both companies truly moved on from was Gamescom. I haven't seen big reviews from Gamescom in a while, and I think it's because Gamescom is too close to E3. I mean, E3 is in June, then all of a sudden, boom, Gamescom is like a month, like 6-8 weeks later. So I could see Sony going, if they were going to reveal games outside of E3, it will be Paris Games Week or their own PSX.
Definitely. The way things played out last year, I was led to believe that Paris Games Week was a little more important to them than E3. So we'll have to see how that plays out this year. Do you think Sony can hit 100 million units sold before this generation is over?
Oh, easily. They're definitely gonna. They're already at 80 million. I mean, even if they sell 15 million for this year, they only have to sell 5 million the year after, and PS4 is not going to sell that low. It's not going to drop to just 5 million a year that quick. That probably won't happen for like another 3 years or so. And remember, these consoles, they still have a little bit of legs, especially when they're popular. They still have legs even post new generation of console gaming. Like, for example, the PS2, the reason why PS2 was able to sell 150 million was because it continued to sell even during the 360 PS3 era. In fact, for the first year, the PS2 was outselling the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 launched in 2005. The PS2 was still the number one selling console, from the moment 360 released. It took a while before 360 outsold. In fact, when the PS3 and the Wii launched, the PS2 outsold all those consoles. It was the number one selling console in the month of 360, Wii, and PS3. So I think PS4 will still have legs because by that point, even if a PS5 was out and a new Xbox was out, the PS4 could easily be $150, $125, which adds a great cheap value, to a lot of the low income families and stuff like that. People who don't want to invest a lot of money in games. That's a great value. $125, $150 for a console, and they have this huge backlog. So easily, I easily see PS4 surpassing 100 million. I just don't think it'll reach the 150 like the PS2 did. I think times are different. But I could see maybe anywhere between 100 million, over 100 million, maybe up to 120 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I could definitely get behind that. And then not to mention that we still have the rest of this year as well as next year with the exclusives that they have lined up next year. They still have a good number of system sellers in their pockets. So I would agree with that. I think they're going to hit 100 million pretty easy. I guess the question is, when will they hit it? That'd probably be a better question.
So they're at 80 million now, and last year in 2017 they sold 20 million. I don't think they'll reach 20 million one year again. I think at a certain point you reach an apex where you're at the tip of the mountain, and at that point, once you reach the highest peak of the mountain, there's only one direction to go, and that's down. So I think this year is when you start seeing maybe PlayStation will sell 17 million, and then maybe 15, 14 million the year after. So I could see early 2019, they'll announce 100 million console sales. I could say by next year, this time next year, they'll announce 100 million.
That would still be huge. And I think even if they were to sell 17 million, even if that would be down from previous numbers, I still think that would be phenomenal.
It is huge. Like I said, at a certain point, console sales will go down. It's not going to keep climbing forever. Like I said, even a mountain, even the tallest mountain in the world has a stopping point. And then, you go your way down, work your way down on the other side. So even 17 million sales 6 years into the console is fantastic. You know, it's absolutely fantastic for them. You know, they created a great product that was focused on games, and that's really what these companies got to do. You know, when you create a console, the focus of effort of that console is a gaming console. That's it. Everything else is fine. You know, the movie, the media players, all that stuff is fine. But those are little announcements, little tweets, a little video right there. But the main cusp of this product is that it's a dedicated video game console. Because in reality, no other device does that. You know, you're not going to get that from an Apple TV or an Android device. You don't get that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, doing a U-turn and headed back to E3, do you think Microsoft will take advantage of Sony's perceived conservative E3?
Here's the thing. This comment that Sony made where people assume that it might be conservative was a recent comment. It's not like Microsoft's going to magically produce games now. Like, oh, man, Sony's only showing 4 titles. Yep, let's show the games right now. It doesn't work that way. Whatever Sony said or does is irrelevant because whatever Microsoft does for E3, it's a plan that was in place. You either have the plan or you don't, you know? I'm a little skeptical on the type of E3 Microsoft's going to have because in order for Microsoft to have a big E3 where they show new IPs, those IPs had to begin development earlier, you know, when Phil took over in 2014. So somewhere between 2014, 2015, maybe early 2016, he had to have the notion of we need to develop big blockbuster exclusive new IPs. I don't think he did that. I don't think that was as high on his priority list. I think on his priority was the Xbox One X, getting that out the door, backwards compatibility, and the beginning stages of cloud computing and services, you know, refunds and, you know, Game Pass and all that stuff. Also, Play Anywhere. I think those were his priority, you know, and I think at the time, Phil thought it was a good idea to go after these things because this is what's going to sell consoles, you know, and at the time he probably thought, yeah, we're going to make the One X because this is the best place to play multiplats, and that's what everybody wants. So we'll get that. And we're going to focus on Play Anywhere because that gives the people the ability to play on whatever device, and people are going to like that. And then we're going to give services like Game Pass because it's an affordable way to play games, and people are going to love that. And then we're going to give them backwards compatibility because we get to keep the library that you have, and everybody's going to love that. You know, and then you have these hardcore Xbox, they're signing on. Yeah, we love that. You know, yeah, put the games on PC. Yeah, we love Game Pass. That's a great idea. Forward thinking for the gamer. And yeah, we love backwards compatibility. This is such forward thinking. And all these things have been implemented, and console sales hasn't increased. If anything, the console looks worse. And I think Phil realized this isn't what sells consoles. What sells consoles is exclusive, compelling games, just like any other generation. So I don't think he made this decision in 2014, 15, 16. I think he's worrying about it now in 2017 and now in 2018. But you won't see the fruits of this labor for another 3-4 years. You see what I'm saying? In order for big blockbuster IPs to appear in 2018, the concept and the work had to begin in 2014, 2015. But I don't think he did it. I think he honestly thought in that era, BC, services, and power was what going to propel Xbox to a new level of competition. That backfired. Now, I'm not saying the Xbox One X is a bad product, but it's clear the hype that people had in 2016 did not deliver in the sense that Xbox is not the main platform for gamers. The Xbox One X didn't change people's mind. A lot of people banked on now that Xbox One X is the best place to play multiplats. That's where everybody's going to flock to. That didn't happen. So now he has to focus on games, but you're not going to see this labor until 2021, 22, 23. Because you're not going to show a game that only has a year in development at E3 2018. It's not ready. It's not even close to being ready. Mm-hmm. This game's going to at least need another year or two before it's even showable at E3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, without a doubt. And, and that takes me right into my next question, too. So do you think Microsoft will showcase games for this generation or for the next generation at E3?
It has to be this generation. There's no way. That would be insane if they started hyping next-gen gaming because Xbox One X is not even a year old. It's not even a year old. And you're already talking about games for another hardware when people just paid $500, what, 4 or 5 months ago? 6 months ago? You can't. You have to. Microsoft is in a tougher position because they have to show games for this gen. Not talk about next gen. People just pay $500. You know? They have this new console. They want to see games now for this new console they bought now. They want to see the best versions of not just multi-plats, but also of Microsoft exclusives. You know, or at least Microsoft first-party published titles that takes advantage of this hardware they have now. They don't, you know, I don't think that would be a good reception. Like if I bought an Xbox One X, right, and it's only 5-6 months old, and I see E3 where they're talking about a next generation game being taken advantage of next generation technology, I would ask myself, then what the hell am I doing with this thing right now? Then that would piss me off if I invested $500 and we're not talking about what I have now. That's only what, 6 months old. That would be insane. They have to show the now. And I think the only answer for the now is they probably had to buy exclusive titles from third party. Who? I don't know. Because I don't think the big guns are going to ride with that. I don't see Ubisoft, EA, or Activision selling them an IP. So it would have to be from like a third-party developer that needed funding for a big game, and Microsoft hoping that whatever they paid for ends up being a big title. I think that's the only answer they have. You know, if there's exclusive IPs, it's not going to come from the first-party publisher. It's going to come from a third-party deal that they paid for. You know, that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm led to believe myself. I'm led to believe that unless they have a huge surprise waiting for everybody at E3, I think this generation is over, not in terms of just the console war, but in terms of Microsoft producing AAA exclusives. I really think this generation is over because we just have not heard anything beyond Crackdown 3, which, you know, seems to be in a state of limbo right now. We haven't heard anything else from Crackdown 3, but I'm led to believe that whenever it does come out, given the track record that Microsoft has demonstrated in 2018, I'm led to believe that when Crackdown 3 comes out, it's probably going to have a good amount of problems.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So Crackdown, Microsoft set that game up for failure in the terms of expectation. Because if everybody remembers when the first Crackdown came out, it came out in 2007, right?
Yep.
Brand new IP. Was well received. It was a good game, you know. It was a good game. But it didn't have the expectation of being a big IP. And the reason why was the year Crackdown came out on 360, we had Halo. It came out. We had a Forza. I think Forza 3, I think it was, came out. BioShock, Mass Effect came out that year as well. So we had big, and that was the year also, you know, even though it was multiplayer, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So we had, and that was, and well, in particular, Microsoft had the deal, whatever, for DLC and stuff like that. The point being was that year, Crackdown wasn't the big game of the year. It was just a good title sitting along big blockbuster exclusives or games that were exclusive at the time. You know, it was sitting along the Mass Effect, the BioShock, Halo 3, Forza. It was sitting along huge titles, you know, and also Xbox wasn't going through a drought. You know, a couple of months before Crackdown launched, Gears of War, brand new IP, came out in November 2006. So everybody was playing that. You know, everybody was playing Gears of War. Then Crackdown come out. You know, everybody was enjoying it. Then a couple of months later, Halo came out, Mass Effect, BioShock, Forza. It was just a slew of big, compelling titles. So Crackdown didn't have this expectation of being a juggernaut. That's not the case now. Now more than ever, Crackdown is the juggernaut because we saw, you know, how Sea of Thieves came out. We're looking at the reaction of State of Decay. Some people are calling Crackdown the last great hope, but it shouldn't be considered that. It should just be considered a good game sitting along other big, compelling titles. So Microsoft really put Crackdown in a bad position to where people are expecting this game to be a Halo, Gears of War, Uncharted level game, but the truth is it's not. This is Crackdown 3. We already know the type of game this is, you know? And
without a doubt.
Yeah, so the more they delay this game, the more they talk about the issues, the worse it just gets because the expectation of a game is unrealistic. This game should not be looked at as a big AAA blockbuster Halo level title. It should just be looked at no different than the way Crackdown was always looked at. It's a good AA title that sits along big blockbuster titles throughout the year. And that's what I think. If this game doesn't come out this year, it's just going to be a bigger negative narrative against the Xbox brand. It's just going to be even more terrible. I can't even imagine the backlash Microsoft will get with a Crackdown delay.
Without question, because with this being the last bullet in the gun for 2018, Crackdown 3 definitely sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah. And I had said that before to other people that I think that if Microsoft had the amount of exclusives like Sony, and they were of the quality like Sony, I think they would have went ahead and canceled Crackdown 3 and just slipped it out the back door without anybody noticing, wouldn't have said a word or anything. But because they really don't have anything in the exclusive department, it makes Crackdown 3 stick out like a sore thumb, and all eyes are on this game for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Microsoft canceled a lot of games this year, and I think it backfired on them. From reading books, like right now I'm reading a book called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels and stuff like that. And some of the chapters talk about games that involve Microsoft. And going by that one source, the figureheads of Microsoft are way too knee deep into game development. You got businessmen, corporate executives making game-like decisions and taking away from the developer, or trying to make developers do something that they see fit. They simply need to stop that culture. The suits at Microsoft need to step out and leave the developers make the game that they want to make. This is what I like about, I think it was Sean Layden. In fact, it was Sean Layden, I think, said it best. I think it was him. But he said, and it might be him, but one of the Sony execs said that their job is not to dictate to their developers how to make a game. Their job is to remove the obstacles that's preventing them from making the games that they want. He says, that's what they said. That's basically their job. So Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch, Santa Monica, what they do for those developers is simply remove the obstacles. If Santa Monica wants to make a game and Sony's like, yep, make it, at that point, they do their best at the corporate level to remove any obstacles and situations that's going to prevent Santa Monica or Naughty Dog from making the game that they want. And Microsoft needs to have that mentality. Stop dictating to these developers, this is what we want you to do. Oh, do this. Oh, do that. Do that. No. Let them pitch the idea. If you like it, allow them to make it and do your best to remove any obstacles from making those games. You're going to have faith in the creativity and the developers. I don't think the suits at Microsoft have good taste in games. I think their taste in games, or how they want their games to be, is pretty terrible. They just need to let the developers have full creative control and just support them in making the vision that they want. Don't box them in. If they want to make a single player game, let them make a single player game. Don't be like, no, you got to make it multiplayer because it's got to be games as a service. No, let them do what they feel they want to do. If they're tired of making Gears of War, let them make a new IP. Let them do what they want. In the end, their heart is in trying to make an amazing game for your platform. Let them do it. But I don't think Microsoft thinks that way, and we're seeing the negative effects of that culture, or lack of.
Yeah, though that couldn't be more true. I think Microsoft operates like a factory. I think they're trying to keep the costs down and the profits up, and I think that's causing them to handcuff a lot of developers and take away the creative freedom. And it's starting to show with the quality of games they've been putting out lately. So, but moving on to another question, I'll be ready to jump over to the Microsoft side after I ask this question. But, not too long ago, about an hour's worth of gameplay was revealed for Days Gone. And with the release of State of Decay 2 around the corner, do you think the timing of that Days Gone reveal was a coincidence, or do you think that was a calculated move by Sony to disrupt the launch of State of Decay 2?
I'll be honest, I would love to say it was a coincidence, but I think it was calculated, because the reason why Days Gone is not coming out anytime soon. You know, I could understand if the game was going to launch in June. You know, kind of like what they did with God of War. They had a month reveal with Game Informer, and then the game came out the next month. They did the same thing with Horizon Zero Dawn. There was like a month, a huge reveal, you know, talks, conversation, Game Informer, then the game came out the next month. So I understand that trend. Days Gone, though, is not coming out next month. Hell, we still don't even know when it's coming out. So to have such an in-depth coverage and all that stuff around the time State of Decay, especially when they're both similar in terms of the story, you know, is a zombie post-apocalyptic type thing. I don't want to say it's similar in gameplay, but I want to say it's similar in, you know, in that type of world environment, you know, the whole post-apocalyptic zombie stuff, right? Yeah, so I do think it was purposely designed. And that's what you do. Sony clearly wants to compete with Microsoft. They clearly want to beat Microsoft. They're clearly sending a message, do not buy Xbox, buy PlayStation, you know? So it's clear that's the message Sony is sending. So I don't think it was a coincidence. No, they're not, Sony's not playing. They truly at every level are showing consumers that if you want to buy a gaming console, this is the gaming console you want to buy. And they're not letting their foot off the throats of Microsoft. At any opportunity where they could outshine Microsoft, they're going to take the opportunity. To me, it was no different than when Sony showed Ghost of Tsushima at Paris Games Week, which was like a week before the launch of the X. I think that was purposely done. They didn't show Ghost of Tsushima at E3. They showed at Paris Games Week for that reason, you know? So Sony sent the message, before you spend $500 on a new X, we want to show you something. And that's what Sony is doing. And I agree with that. You know, I don't believe in this kumbaya world. You know, be an animal, be a boss, fight to be the best. And so I agree with that. And then kudos to Sony for having that type of mindset.
Yeah, and you definitely put it the same way that I would have put it. Sony has put their foot on Microsoft's neck more than once, because I think going back into the lead up to the Sea of Thieves release, Sony conveniently came out with information about God of War, about a release date, additional game footage. So yeah, it became apparent there's a pattern there that every time Microsoft gets ready to do something, you know, Sony pulls out that boot and starts putting it on Microsoft's neck. So, but you're right, you know, that kind of competition is good. You know, Sony's getting kind of ferocious whenever that happens. So, this question right here, you know, May 31st, Microsoft will be removing 21 games from the Game Pass library, but yet they're raising the price of Game Pass in the UK. And you know, it's only a matter of time before they raise the price here in the United States. You know, what do you think about that?
So here's the thing. In concept, on paper, Game Pass sounds like a great idea. You know, you have access to a large library of games for a low, consistent price month to month. They're not being streamed. You could download them directly to your console. And as long as you download directly to your console, you could play them. In practice, that sounds great. But you have to go to the next step. The next step is, what is the library of games that you're offering that I'm going to pay month to month? You know, when I first saw Game Pass a couple of months ago, you know, it was mostly 360 games. And I wasn't interested in subscribing to a service on games that A, I already played, or B, like Barbie's Horse Adventure or something. I'm not playing that. So it's just space taken up, you know. As far as Microsoft's removing game titles, it's kind of interesting because that sets the precedence that more games will be removed in the future. So the question is, how is that decision done? Are they doing it by observing what games actually get downloaded? Like, do they see games that haven't been downloaded in months and they'd be like, okay, since this game hasn't been downloaded in a year by anybody, we're just going to take it off to save service space, you know? And if they do remove games, what if it's a game you did download? Do you still have access to it if it's directly downloaded to your console? You know, those questions have to be fleshed out. Raising the price, that's interesting, because to be honest, I don't see Game Pass as worth as having the price raised over yet. Because sure, Microsoft made the announcement that their first party games will be day one, but what have they really released that's like, oh my God, this is now awesome? You know, the games haven't been compelling. You know, you got Sea of Thieves. Now you have State of Decay. What else? I don't know. Maybe Crackdown if it comes out. They haven't released big blockbuster titles to warrant the stature. You know, I mean, people compare Game Pass to Netflix. It's not Netflix. It's not even there yet. You know, because Netflix, the reason why everybody subscribes to it is because it has compelling exclusives other streaming services don't. You know, it has these Netflix originals that are just amazing, and Hulu can't compete on that level, or Amazon Prime can't compete on that level. You know, that's why people refer to Netflix as the base model. But people don't realize it's because Netflix has compelling exclusive. It has the Daredevils, the Luke Cage, the Black Mirrors, 13 Reasons Why, and it even has, fully featured movies like Bright. It's just a huge compelling service that provides exclusive content no other streaming service has. Game Pass is not there yet. I think Microsoft should have just continued, to keep the pricing scheme as is and built on the library of exclusives. Make the service really compelling. I don't think it's there yet. If anything, raising the price, I think is going to put people off, because then people are going to ask, what is the service actually bringing? Why should I pay X amount of dollars month to month? What will I be playing? And if you look at the library, it really isn't there yet.
Without a doubt, that library is less than impressive. And I read up on Game Pass when it first came out, and it seemed to me, I got the impression that the whole purpose of Game Pass was to get people hooked on a game and then snatch it from the library to get them to buy it after it's removed from the library for a discounted rate. But I don't know. I mean, like you said, being that they have a less than impressive lineup for Game Pass with a lot of 360 games, it's hard for me to guess what kind of direction they're going with that service. But I'll have one more question before I jump over to the Microsoft side and start asking some questions there, which may it might, I doubt that it'll trigger some people, but I don't know if they hold that Xbox nice and tight, with lots of TLC, I don't know, they might get a little hurt. We'll see. Do you think that Spider-Man will have the same impact as God of War?
I think close, definitely. I think, in fact, I had this conversation on one of my YouTube channels on a long comment section. So obviously there are people upset that Spider-Man is now exclusive to one platform. They feel the character shouldn't be exclusive to any platform. It should be enjoyed by everyone. So I asked the question, who's everyone? Because I'll use the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as an example. It didn't even sell 1 million, and it was available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It sold like around 900,000. So when people say enjoyed by everyone, who's everyone? Because no one really played that game, In fact, Infamous Second Son sold 3 million. Think about that. Infamous, more people played Infamous than a Spider-Man game.
Wow.
That's a problem. And Infamous, the reason why I bring up Infamous, because even though it's not an actual comic book character, it's the same superhero type universe. You got a superhero going around the city saving stuff. More people played Infamous Second Son than Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm also going to bring up Amazing Spider-Man 3. That game was available on 7 platforms. It was available on PS2, Xbox 360, Nintendo DS, the Wii, PS4, Xbox One, PC, 7 platforms. And it sold 3.4 million. So again, Infamous Second Son on just one platform sold as much as Spider-Man 3, which is available on 7 platforms. So again, I ask, who's this everybody that people are talking about? This Spider-Man will truly be played by everybody. I think it could easily sell 6, 7, 8 million easily when it's all said and done. I think this will be the highest selling Spider-Man franchise or Spider-Man game within the history of the franchise across any platform, And the reason why is because for the first time, at least to this strength, it's being treated as a full AAA big blockbuster compelling title, to the level of The Last of Us, to the level of Uncharted, to the level of Halo. I think the last time a title this, Spider-Man game was treated this big was on the PlayStation 2 when Treyarch was developing it. And the game ended up selling 4 million, which was really good at the time, But Sony's given this game the true love and care that Activision failed. So if anybody is upset that Sony took over this title, I say blame Activision for just treating this as a quick cash, They farmed this game out to some low-level developers. They never put the budget into this game. They never put the media market, and the hype behind it. Like right now, I tweeted it out. They already have a big long poster in the middle of Los Angeles of Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Huge big poster. When was the last time we see that from Activision?
Yeah,
we never saw that.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. When was the last time we actually seen a Spider-Man game on an E3 stage? And then it was the main headliner. It was never treated as a big blockbuster title, So something had to change. And I think Marvel got sick and tired of how Activision treated this IP. They see Sony wants to give it the royal treatment. And because it's been given the royal treatment, more gamers, even though it's on one platform, more gamers will be playing this Spider-Man than any Spider-Man before it, And that's it. And the way I see it, the PlayStation platform is an affordable console now. You don't have to get the Pro or anything, Hell, you could wait till this November. You'll probably get a PlayStation for $150. So if you really want to play Spider-Man, you'll have the opportunity to play Spider-Man and be thankful if you're a true Spider-Man fan that we're finally getting the treatment that it deserves. We're getting the Batman Arkham series type treatment. It's going to be more than just a great Spider-Man game. It's finally going to be a great game, period. So I think definitely it's going to do wonders.
Yeah, I believe it too. And there's definitely a game that's going to be on my radar. Ryan, the professional, what's going on? Glad you could join us, my friend. Fatal Mephisto, the Canadian grizzly bear. How you doing?
What's up, everybody?
Yep. So now I'm ready to jump on over to the Microsoft side with a few questions.
Right. But before we get to that, hey, we got 34 watching, but only 19 likes. Come on, people. Come on, hit that like button. Tweet it out. Let them know the professor is on the scene. Let's get this out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's support Lincoln Clay. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt, I definitely appreciate it. And the man I have on the show today, he is your only friend in these YouTube streets. So going out there, hit them tweets, hit them like buttons, and represent. Because I believe that I've got the best comment section in YouTube. So go ahead and show that to him. Let's go ahead and represent. So jumping over to the Microsoft side, some of these are questions that I asked Jay Wags yesterday when I did the Lincoln show yesterday. So I'll ask you some of the same questions that I asked him, but I'm thinking I'll probably get a little more of a conservative answer from you, because he's the king of rants. But that's what I was hoping I would get from him, because I definitely like him. What's up, Gunru? So give me your thoughts on the latest edition of Inside Xbox.
I'll be honest, I didn't see it. I give up on that show. I saw the first two, and I knew the third one was going to bomb. And just like I predicted, it did bomb. I did see J-Wags. He did I like enjoying his stuff because it's hilarious. He breaks down the show in nice bite-sizable detail. And from what I seen, from what J-Wags did, it just is exactly what I predicted. I mean, an announcement for an exclusive Halo at Dave & Buster's. Like, well, what are we doing here? Like, it's just the venue is all wrong. Microsoft is treating the venue overall all wrong. We don't want to hear about Dave & Buster's. We don't want to hear about a musical instrument that's authentic to see it these. We want, it's better to just do a 15-minute show and give us great details on stuff. Highlight new developers that you're building. Do an episode where we be like, hey, we want to introduce so-and-so, he's starting up. We got a new first-party studio, so we're going to talk to them for a little bit and the type of games they're going to make. That's something I would watch. Granted, they may not have a product, but at least I know a face. At least I know a name to a studio. At least I know their vision of what they're going to do, because then that gives me confidence in the long-term support of the brand. I get to know that, stick with Xbox, because in the long run, this is what we're going to get. And they're not doing that. They're just doing some weird stuff that just doesn't make sense. And I don't know. What did you think about that?
Oh, boy. Starting with Inside Xbox, I've never been able to watch a complete episode of that show. 45 minutes is the longest I've been able to go. And the only reason why I did that is because I needed to watch some of it so I could have some questions for Jay Wags, because I don't think it would have been, I think it would have did him and this chat a great disservice if I would have walked in and asked him questions, not even having watched the Inside Xbox. So I had to force myself to watch 45 minutes of it. That was about all I could take. Any longer and I would have threw up. So you've heard the scores and the reviews of State of Decay 2, and they're generally bad. Were you surprised by it?
So actually, no, I wasn't really surprised. I don't like to predict scores. I don't do, I'm pretty sure you saw that on Twitter where people be like, predict your Metacritic scores. I don't really do that. But I had a general pulse that this game was going to be well received because I'll say this. So like a year ago or whatever, people were talking about State of Decay 2, right? And from the conversation I was hearing, people were giving me this impression that it's this nice in-depth co-op multiplayer where together we build communities and we live our lives like it's Walking Dead. So that was the impression I got, right? People were talking that it's a AAA title. They're making a big budget and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, they took a concept that started out like a Xbox Live Arcade title, and now they're building on it. Because, at the time, the first one did okay. It was well received. Okay, cool. They're making it bigger. They're making it better. They're fleshing out the online. Then as we got closer to the game, things started backtracking. First, they dropped the price to $30, right? And I'm thinking, okay, so you got a big blockbuster AAA budget title. You're only selling it for $30? That doesn't sound like a AAA title. Nothing wrong with selling a $30 game by any means. But you advertise this as a big budget AAA title. I can't see how you go from 60 to 30. The game was never a big budget AAA to begin with. Then talks about how the co-op was going to be, where it's not really a big thriving community. It's more like one player is the host, and you're helping that one player build his community. But if you want to build your community, you have to log off or get off the co-op and just go back to your area. So then you don't have a big thriving Walking Dead type world. Now everything just changed. Then you look at the game graphically. I mean, it's okay, but not huge improvements. It's not what was advertised a year and a half ago, Of course, I didn't play the game, so I don't know how good or bad it is. I plan to play it after I'm done with God of War, so I'm going to play it regardless. But I noticed the people on Twitter or on YouTube that a year ago, they had these conversations of how State of Decay 2 is planned to be. When I look at them now and hear the conversation, it's totally different now. Now they're just saying, well, it's like State of Decay 1. We just get more of it, so I love it. But I'm thinking, this is not what you told me a year ago. You told me about this thriving online community where everybody's building a community and you're together and all this stuff, and that has a big blockbuster title. It's a big budget. It's going to be a full AAA treatment. Now you're changing your description. Now you're telling me it's just more of the first one. So I'm like, yeah, this game is not going to do well. This is not what was told. This is not what was talked about, And I firmly believe I don't want to say damage control, but I don't firmly believe that a sequel should just be more of the first. I made a tweet about that where I compared Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 1. When Uncharted 1 came out, it was a good game, but it wasn't a masterpiece by any means. It was missing a lot of things. It didn't have online. The story was short. So there was a lot of the set pieces wasn't really that good. It was okay. It was a good game. It was a good game, but it wasn't a masterpiece. It wasn't a console seller by any means. When Naughty Dog released Uncharted 2, it took the world by storm. It became a masterpiece. It became a Game of the Year title. It became a bona fide console seller. That's when Uncharted now could sit next to the Halos, the Gears of War. It could sit at the table with some of the biggest games out there. That's the type of treatment State of Decay should have gotten. It should have been bigger. It should have been better. The funds should have been invested to make this game into a game where you could potentially sit at the table among the great games that are out there. And it's clear they didn't do that, So I wasn't really surprised at the Metacritic scores that it got.
Mm-hmm. Please excuse me, folks, if you hear any background noise. That is my son playing Roblox. So, hey, Ski, just a little. Thank you. So before the reviews got out, was State of Decay a game that you were interested in?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was definitely there, especially the way it was sold on it. Because when they were telling me about this type of Walking Dead type world with other people, I'm thinking, man, that could work. I could dig with that. We survive as a community. Your character dies, and stuff like that. Now, from what I'm seeing, I'm still gonna play it because it seems like you have to build your own community. And even though you're doing it by yourself, or you might get help, you're not doing it together per se. Um, that just tells me that it has a good single player type gameplay, which I'm cool with. So I want to give it a chance. Hopefully by the time I'm done with God of War, they got some of the patches and the bugs, because I heard people had issues even filling up a car with gasoline and stuff like that. I mean, it goes either way. Ultimately, if the story's good, the missions are good, things that I have to do to build a community is fun, then I'm gonna rock out with it. I'm gonna be honest, it's really the only game I was looking forward to for Xbox in 2018. That and now Fight Night. I mean, granted, sad that it's a 360 game, but really that's really the only two games I'm looking forward to as of now from what's been announced. So I'm still looking forward to playing it. Hopefully, hopefully for me personally, I get to enjoy the game.
Okay. Being it as far as I'm concerned, State of Decay 2 turned out to be a train wreck. Do you think that was the final smoke signal that Microsoft doesn't plan to release any more AAA exclusive this generation?
I would say, like I said earlier, where I talked about how Phil didn't come in planning with games in mind in 2014-15. He came in with BC, he came in with Xbox One X, he came in with Game Pass, cloud services, play anywhere. I don't think this is going to be their last attempt at AAA. I think Phil is trying to do AAA, but I think that decision was a recent decision. I think it's a late 2016 or 2017 decision. And because he made that decision at that time, we won't see these big AAAs for another 3-4 years. You know what I mean? I think State of Decay was a game that was decided along like 2-3 years ago. So it is what it is. This is just a decision that was already in place. I hope Microsoft don't go away from big blockbuster AAA only because Game Pass. That's the one thing that's making me nervous now about this whole Game Pass, is because of Game Pass, because gamers are now getting access to games for only $10. Does Microsoft lose their heart in making big blockbuster titles, which will only be played for $10 a month anyway? So it's a cost to benefit analysis. You know what I mean? Are they going to really invest that much money in a big blockbuster title that they're not really going to sell for $60? It's mostly going to be played on a $10 a month or $15 a month service. That's what I'm nervous about Game Pass. I'm hoping Microsoft still creates these big blockbuster title, but we can only see what the future holds. But if Game Pass is the mechanism that allows Microsoft to not invest that much money into big blockbuster title because the game's going to be sold for $10 anyway, then I'll be honest, I hope this system doesn't come to the PlayStation platform. I hope Sony doesn't adopt this system at all, because I don't want them to use that as an excuse for not creating big blockbuster compelling titles, simply because it's not going to be sold for $60 anymore. It's going to be a $10, $15 a month service. I don't want that. Not at all.
Yeah, definitely. So are you part of this movement that if Microsoft doesn't deliver at this E3 that you are done with them?
I'm gonna be honest. Here's the thing. So obviously, the channel's growing. I want to invest more in my channel, and one of the key investments is having a nice PC. Right now I'm using a laptop. I bought it for $300. It's a Dell laptop. It's serviceable. I do a little quick thumbnail. I'm able to do my podcast, record a video too. But if I want to take my channel to the next level, I gotta invest in a decent PC. There's obviously not a $3,000 PC, but at the same time, not a $300 laptop either. Right. It's gonna have a decent video card, decent memory, decent CPU, and because it has decent equipment, decent hardware, it could be dubbed as a gaming machine. Granted, it may not do 4K native, may not do 4K at 60 frames. It's not going to have a 1080 Ti, whatever. But even 1440p at 60 frames, or even 1080p at 60 frames, I'll be happy. And if that's the case, I might be done with Xbox anyway and just play these once in a while exclusives on PC, especially if Microsoft's not really going to create a lot of them. It's going to be hard for me to pay even $300 for a console for the next Xbox. When what I'm really going to do with it? Like, what is it going to really do for $300 when I could just pay $800, $900 on a decent laptop or a decent desktop that primarily will be used to support my channel. So that's the main reason. And as a secondary function, play these occasional exclusives, or not even exclusives, these occasional first-party published Microsoft titles. And I don't think I have a problem with that. I could still connect an Xbox controller. I still have access to Xbox Live for free, I might add. I honestly look, I don't see me buying another Xbox console. I think I'm gonna put the money towards a decent PC and just play those occasional first-party published titles there.
Go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna see anything. I don't think Microsoft's really gonna release anything on at E3 that makes me gonna change my mind on that point. I'll still play the first party games. I just won't be doing it on their console no more. Whatever money I would spend on their console, I'll just put it towards a decent PC that will dub as two primary purposes, or really a primary, secondary purpose. Primary being support my channel so I could do video edits, really create a nice, good, clean content for my subscribers, for my fans, for my family and friends, and then still be able to play games on those first-party published titles when they do come out.
Yeah, virtually killing two birds with one stone. Getting a good PC to promote your channel, and one that will get the job done in terms of playing games. Essentially taking Microsoft out of the equation in terms of you owning their console. So
yeah,
I'm starting to hear more and more people go that route, and slowly but surely, more YouTubers I'm starting to hear about them selling their Xbox One X's as we speak. Jay Wags, his Xbox One X is up for sale. Sick Humor just sold his, and it's like I said, more and more people starting to go that route of selling their Xbox One X's in favor of a PC.
Yeah, here's the thing. So I know some people be like, oh, people don't like PC. Here's the reality. The price of the One X for a couple of $100 more bucks, yeah, you could get, you'll get a nice, decent performing PC. But what people are forgetting, that PC will have other uses. That's the main draw too. Like I said, I'm gonna use the PC to support my channel. The next Xbox is not gonna support my channel. It's not gonna do anything to help my channel grow. It's not gonna do anything to help, provide better content, to my subscribers. A PC will do that, and it just so happens that same PC will be able to play these Microsoft published games. So me investing in a dedicated Xbox console, I don't see the value in that anymore. At least for me, I just don't see it. It's getting really hard, unless Microsoft really pushes, building studios so they can have an onslaught of great, compelling games, as a publisher. If they're just going to keep releasing these type of games, the Sea of Thieves, and then they're just going to really keep pushing Forza every year, which I don't play racing games, so that's a game that they make every year that I don't buy. So right off the bat, that's one less content every year for me. It's just going to be hard for me to plop down $300, $400, $500 on an Xbox console, just for an anemic or just the once in a while exclusives that they release. I think their biggest blockbusters will remain Halo and Gears and Forza. And then everything else is just going to be a title that you can play on Game Pass.
Yeah, I agree. And even the Halos and Forces of Gears is starting to turn into a rinse and repeat type games.
Yeah.
So if Microsoft has a bad E3 and gamers abandon them as promised, do you think that would accelerate Microsoft's plans to become a full-blown games as a service company? Do you think they'll put that next phase in motion faster than planned?
I think so. I think that's the direction they're heading. Clearly. I know some people think I'm saying it as a fanboy. People think, oh, you're just saying it as a fanboy, but I don't. I talk to everybody, and I'm gonna say it again. If you look at what Microsoft truly put their money down on, and I'm not talking about chump change, billions of dollars. They put it towards services and companies that support multi-platform game development. They spend billions acquiring Simply Gone. They spend billions acquiring PlayFab. They spend billions acquiring Havoc. These aren't little chump change decisions. These are multi-billion-dollar decisions they did. And the one thing all these things have in common is they support multi-platform devices. They support multiple devices. Sony uses these services. You know, they get contracts to use Havoc from Microsoft. They're using the Simply Gone services. The developers are using PlayFab. Sony uses these services that Microsoft owns. So Microsoft is already supporting Sony's game development process. They're supporting Naughty Dog. They're supporting Santa Monica. They're supporting them with services that they own. You know, this is the real big decision Microsoft made. I'm not making this up. So you take that, right? Then you take Phil Spencer. You know, he's telling the people that, hey, he wants to see his games on every device. He wants his game accessible on the device the gamers are choosing to play on. He's not saying he wants these games accessible on certain devices. He's not saying he wants these games accessible on some devices. He's telling people he wants it on all devices. All is all inclusive. It's not all, but what he really means everything but PlayStation. That's not what he's saying. The Xbox fans are saying that. Oh, what Phil really means is every device, but he's not including PlayStation. If he wasn't including PlayStation, he wouldn't say all. He would say, well, you know, we're trying to get our games on certain devices. He would say it like that to let you know that he's trying to spread it, but it's only going to be on certain devices he deems fit. He's not saying that. He's consistently telling people he wants to see his games on all devices, on a device that you as a gamer choose to play. He's telling these people this, but they're trying to rearrange it to fit their own narrative. He's not saying all devices but PlayStation. He did not say that. He did not say certain devices. He did not say even the word some. He specifically, consistently uses the word all devices or any device you choose to play on. That includes PlayStation. That includes Switch. That includes tablets and Android. That includes Mac, Apple devices. You know what I'm saying? He's clearly showing his intentions, and I don't think people want to accept that. But when it happens, it's not gonna be a shock to me, but it's gonna be a shock to them. You know, and I fully believe Microsoft doesn't want their revenue or their future of gaming to solely rely on their specific Xbox brand. I don't think they want to stay in that position. I think they want to expand and have the comfort knowing they'll make money and be successful on the backs of every device that's out there, similar to what they did with their Windows, operating system. They didn't rely on specific hardware to make Windows successful. It was available on every piece of hardware out there, even hardware they didn't create. That's how they got Windows to be successful in the primary operating system throughout the world. It was available on everything, and I think that's what they want to do as a games developer, as a gaming publisher, being able to publish games on everything that's out there.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I believe that with them moving in the direction of this games as a service, I believe that Apple and PlayStation are the two biggest prizes that they have their sights set on, because with 80 million PlayStations out there, that's a lot of Xbox Live memberships, for people who want to play Gears of War on their PlayStation. So I definitely believe that Microsoft has their sights on Sony in terms of getting their service on the PlayStation platform. So, I've only have a few questions left, but let's see here. What do you think about are you going to pick up the Black Ops 4? What do you think about that situation with no campaign?
So interesting situation. So when they first announced it, was a couple of weeks ago, that rumors have it was no single player campaign, I was kind of upset. I'm like, oh, here we go, more games as a service crap, and I was already on the verge of like, I'm not gonna get this Black Ops because I mostly play the single player. For a time I was big on the multiplayer, especially during the last gen. I love Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops, but then after a while, I kind of moved on from multiplayer. I'm back to my single player grind because I want to experience different worlds, different genres, and multiplayer doesn't really do that. You just stay stuck on the same thing over. But I did enjoy the single player, and then I move on. So with the official reveal, again, it was confirmed it's not going to have single player, but I had a conversation on Twitter with somebody that showed the true stats behind the single player of the game. And that was something that achievements and trophies brought on. It actually showed the world what gamers were actually playing in their games. And the data shows most people, not even 30%, went halfway into these single player games. No one was really completing them. No one was really beating them, So from a perspective, does it make sense for Treyarch, a developer, to invest millions into something that most people are not playing? Or should, and then we're not even talking from a business standpoint. We're talking about from a developer time span standpoint. They spend 10 to 14 hours a day working on this stuff. Should they invest the time into something that's hardly played, or should they put more time into what people are actually playing, which is the multiplayer,
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really be mad at them for making that decision, because it doesn't make sense to invest 10 to 14 hours a day of your life into something the gamers aren't really playing. You might as well just put that focus and effort into the multiplayer. So with that, and I know that doesn't really answer the question, I'm going to answer it now. I think I will buy this Call of Duty, only for the fact that they're putting more effort into the multiplayer. And then also I'm interested to see in this battle royale mode, but the Call of Duty way. The way it's advertised got me interested. Huge map, and they said it's going to be, the combat is going to span across land, sea, and air. So that's a dynamic the other, battle royale games aren't doing. Fortnite's not really doing that in that sense, and PUBG's not doing that in that sense. So it's going to be interesting how Treyarch implements air and sea battle into this battle royale style mode. All right. So yeah, I think I might get Call of Duty and just jump right into multiplayer and just see how they implement that. Primarily the blackout mode, which is the battle royale mode. I'm really interested to see how they really pull through.
Yeah, myself, I'm in favor of campaigns, because I'm a person that like to see games play out as a movie, because I want the cinematic experience. With this Black Ops 4, I haven't been a fan of the Call of Duty franchises in a while, but I am going to end up getting this because my son has already asked me to get this game for him. So due to the share feature with the Xbox, that is how I'm going to acquire the game. Okay. So if I would have had to purchase my own copy, I would not. So, okay. But you're right. I am curious about this land, sea, and air aspect of the battle royale. So it's definitely something I want to check out. So I have one more question, and that would be that I believe that E3 was correct with the numbers that with the estimated numbers that they gave for the Xbox brand, when they estimated that the Xbox sold 29.5 million units as of December of 2017. With that being said, I've crunched a few numbers, and I'm making a rough guess that Microsoft is probably sitting on about 32, maybe 33 million units right now. With the Nintendo Switch sitting on 17 million, and it's barely been out a year. The question is not if, it's when it's going to catch the Xbox brand. So with that being said, when do you think that the Nintendo Switch will pass the Xbox?
I too think that EA was close in their estimates. I think Xbox is around in the 30 millions. I think by 2019, I could see Switch surpassing Xbox, maybe mid 2019, late 2019. The only reason is it's not going to happen this year. I know some people be like, oh, by the end of the year, Switch is going to surpass Xbox. I don't think that's going to happen because, Xbox still has a nice size lead, and Xbox is going to sell during the holidays. It's going to still sell 1 million, so Nintendo needs more time to catch up and surpass Xbox. All right. But That's assuming Nintendo continues to sell at its rapid pace. You know, Nintendo also has to have compelling titles released. As you saw with the recent NPD, PlayStation outsold Nintendo and Xbox combined. You know, with the leaked rumored numbers. You know, so while a lot of people are looking at PlayStation and Xbox like, oh my god, you know, PlayStation is killing Xbox, it also killed Switch too. Switch sold pretty low also because Switch didn't have any compelling titles recently. I mean, it had Bayonetta, but that was you know, it's the remaster. I don't even think it's even a remaster. I think it's just a straight port of the Wii U version. And the game doesn't sell big anyway from the get-go. So Nintendo slowed down in sales a little bit, at least here in America, simply because we haven't heard of a big title in a while. I think Donkey Kong's Tropical Freeze, but again, that was what, another Wii U title, you know? So Nintendo needs to continue pushing big, compelling new IPs or new titles, at least new sequels, whatever, like Metro Prime 4, or new Pikmin, or new Pokemon, for those who are interested in that. Simply because if they don't, they're gonna fall in a rut too. You know, and people was going to start complaining that where are the big titles? Especially, I will say it's even worse for Nintendo because at least Microsoft, they do get big multiplats, you know. Sure, you didn't get a big compelling title. If you're an Xbox only owner, you didn't get a big compelling title in terms of for Microsoft, but at least you still get to play Red Dead. You know what I mean? You'll get to play the new Call of Duty. You get to play the new Battlefield, you know? So at least you get a big compelling title in some form. Yeah, it's a multiplat, but that doesn't stop you from enjoying it. Nintendo doesn't have that. If Nintendo doesn't release big compelling titles, then where are they going to get a big compelling title from? It's not going to be from the third party. Like Call of Duty 4 is right now officially stated by Treyarch, they have no plans in making the game for the Switch. You know?
Yeah, you know, there are those that believe that the release of Pokemon and Super Smash Brothers will increase the sales of the Nintendo Switch astronomically. With that being said, I've kind of made a prediction that I think they will catch the Xbox in September of 2019.
That's reasonable, especially if they did release Pokemon and Super Smash Brothers, especially Pokemon, because that's a game that sells for a long time. It sells a lot, and it sells for a long time. So under that condition, definitely, I could see Pokemon and Super Smash Brothers. Yeah, well, definitely. And I do think, like I said, they're gonna need 2019 to surpass Xbox.
Yes,
but I could reasonably see it if they keep pushing the compelling titles. They're able to push out Pokemon and all that. I could see that. I could see them. I could definitely see by the end of 2019. That they would have surpassed Xbox total numbers. Now, will we see an official statement? No, we won't. Only reason is Nintendo cannot make the claim that they surpass Xbox One sales unless they know what those sales are.
Right.
And the only person that knows completely is Microsoft. You know, so you can't really say we outsold this group if you don't know what they sold to begin with. You know, so you won't see an official statement from Nintendo, but most of us will be able to read in between the lines.
Right. And I expect people like Michael Pachter to come out and say something like that, say something when that happens anyway.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you know, I'm all out of questions. And plus, I'm under time constraints. I got to get ready to turn this computer over to my son pretty soon. So with that being said, you know, I'm pretty much ready to wrap this up. And I definitely want to thank the viewers. I saw your comments, even though I wasn't able to respond to many of them. Thank you so much. And I definitely want to thank Puertorockk for coming on the show. And this podcast was so amazing. I hope I can get you to come back again in the future.
Of course, definitely, man. This is my second home now. In fact, I'm opening the fridge right now.
Oh yeah, go ahead, open right up, take whatever you want. Okay. Without a doubt. I absolutely enjoyed it. So with that being said, you know, make sure you give me a like, you know, and if you happen to catch the replay, give me a like there. And as I always say, make sure you lock the door on your way out. So with that being said, in Gunru, we're going to get that rubber match in tonight on MLB The Show, because we got to settle that score once and for all.
Nice.
All right. So I want to thank you again, Puertorockk, for coming on the show. It was absolutely an incredible experience, and I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Man, thank you, man. Pleasure's all mine. Awesome questions. It's been a fantastic show. Definitely. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show on the channel, and good luck on your channel, man. Anything, any type of support, whatever. Looking forward to having you on my podcast. Definitely. I would like to provide that exposure to you and stuff. So I'll let you know. I'll hit you up, see how your schedule is. Most likely it'll be on the weekends because, again, you know, the 6-hour time difference. So doing it on a weekday, you know, but we'll see what we'll do. You know, we'll definitely love to hear your thoughts among the panels that I usually am able to get.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It would be an honor.
All right.
It would definitely be an honor to come into a podcast with you. And so with that being said, folks, that's going to do it. I want to thank everybody for checking out the show. As I'll use a line from Foxy Games UK: play games, not corporations. Mm-hmm. And so thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day, and we'll catch you later. This is from Puertorockk and your boy Lincoln Clay. We are out. You guys have a good one.
Peace.